Well, I know we have limited time, so thank you. Good evening. We appreciate you joining us. My name is Adam Weers. I am the chair of the Yorktown City Council. We are very eager to hear from you. We had a chance to look at your proposal a little bit, but eager to hear more. And then I will say we're going to spend, I think, 10 minutes hearing from you and for you to do your presentation, and then we'll spend 10 minutes doing just some questions and answers. We'll probably ask, when my colleagues and I ask you questions, if you could limit your answers to around 90 seconds, that would be helpful, just to make sure we can get multiple questions in. That'd be great. But with that, the floor is yours.
Okay. So hi, we're Ecological Development, and here's our proposal for Elmwood. So I'm Akshara, the site planner, and I'll get started. Ecological Development aims to direct the Elmwood community to become a safe and environmentally friendly place in an innovative way. Our prime focus is on smart sustainability, hence the name Ecological. By appealing to diverse families and mixed income classes, we plan on forming a neighborhood mosaic within the Elmwood residents. Our primary component of our plan revolves around solving everyday problems relating to transit, residency, and retail. We plan to incorporate ecological aspects such as geothermal, energy, and stormwater management. In the end, we would like to leave Elmwood with the resources it needs to grow and prosper. So first of all, starting off with block 1, we decided to have the Q-Mart, and this is because it's closest to the subway station and the free. Sorry, I think I got cut off. Hello?
Can you hear us, Akshara?
Oh yeah, sorry, now I can hear you. I'm sorry about that.
No, I don't know what, I got cut off as well.
Okay.
Sorry.
Would you like me to continue from where I was or restart?
Continue where you were.
Okay. So the Q-Mart is further south in the block so that we can prevent traffic up north. And it has a green roof to help with water management. And we included 2 podium apartments so that the tenants there, if they're seniors especially, have easier accessibility. In block 2, we have all our office buildings because this block is closest to the central business district and the subway station, keeping traffic minimal, as I said before. There's a park for the workers to enjoy their lunch or go for a walk, and we kept the Phoenix Hotel. After these are closed, people can still use the park so the block doesn't become a dead zone. In block 3, there are lots of townhouses and podiums and the York Dry Goods building. We included the park so that the block doesn't become a dead zone, as I mentioned, and there'll be a community garden here. In block 4, we decided to have the town square because it's in the center of Elmwood, and so it's equally accessible to all of the residents. We've included retail, and since there's a fair amount of parking along Adams Street, we'll have many trees which help with stormwater management and reduce heat. They also provide shade. In block 5, we have a luxury condo and a few podiums. We included a skate park, which was a request, and it's near magnet schools northeast of Elmwood. And in block 6, finally, we have the new homeless shelter because it's near the church, which subsidizes it. And we added podiums to eliminate the bad stigma around homeless people. We placed our park strategically so that shadows are minimized in Elmwood and no parking is accessible from 9th Avenue because we want to keep traffic on the main road to a minimum. This street will be closed from Friday to Sunday and used as walking lanes only. This is so parks don't get overly crowded, especially with social distancing. We will control the flow of people with crossing guards and volunteers and social distancing markings like circles in parks and on roads and sidewalks. A mural on Q-Mart makes walking down 9th Avenue more enjoyable, and 9th Avenue being closed gives the main street a more comforting and welcoming feel. I'll give it off to Nicolette.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicolette and I'm the marketing director. I will show you how we redeveloped Elmwood to bring the best and most benefits for our retail, office, and residential tenants. We have dispersed retail on blocks 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is close and provides residents with numerous jobs. The newly implemented Q-Mart on block 1 will attract mixed income shoppers, seniors, and families. Elmwood residents will no longer need to travel long distances to buy everyday products. It will provide entry-level jobs for all ages. To meet the needs of as many current and incoming residents, we have included many services and amenities in the newly rehabilitated York Dry Goods building. A branch library, and / Computer Digital Center, Senior Center, and Yorktown Bike Share was put in place. A drug treatment center was included for those who might need a bit of extra help in becoming valuable members in our community. Many are worried about there being an increase in crime in the surrounding area as a result of the homeless shelter. We have taken these concerns seriously and provided a police substation to increase safety in the area. A senior center was put in place to provide a wide variety of wellness activities for Elmwood's elderly. The students utilizing the classrooms will be encouraged to use the additional retail space in York Dry Goods. Podium apartments were placed on blocks 1, 3, 5, and 6, and townhouses on block 3. Townhouses are located further away from the homeless shelter on block 6 as they tend to house empty nesters and higher income families. The luxury condominium on block 5 will house higher income families, professional individuals, and empty nesters. I'll now pass it on.
Hi, City Council. My name is Sonia, and I'm the City Liaison for Ecological Development. So in terms of our site plan, I'm pretty pleased with the route that we've chosen to go. And generally speaking, our vision for the revitalized Elmwood is one that pertains a lot to sustainability and the integration of diverse backgrounds into our community. So our plan aligns very well with both the given RFP and the community interest letters. So to just run through that, our housing is affordable, so it meets the needs of mixed income families. We've got a lot of mixed background employment opportunities, such as entry-level jobs and skilled level jobs, which I'll elaborate on later. And we are also allowing senior and longtime residents to age in place. So a lot of our land has actually co-aligned with a number of objectives, stated in the RFP. So for example, York Dry Goods has a lot of employment opportunities in terms of retail, the bank, university classes, and office spaces, which again provides jobs that are both entry level and skilled. We also have a senior center that caters to the retired and long-term residents of Elmwood. And of course, a lot of these spaces will be closed during COVID times, but we've accounted for these closed spaces by turning them into temporary COVID testing sites, a resource center that acts as a food bank or offers COVID resources such as gloves, masks, and sanitizers. And we also have counseling for mental health in case people find themselves to be in distress due to the situation. We also really took into account our community interest letters, and we decided to accept all of their offers because we thought that they advanced rather than impeded the city's goals as stated in the RFP. So for example, for the university, it integrates youth into the community, which could be beneficial to the relationship between senior and youth residents. Then we've got the bike share, which is green and sustainable, like what our vision for the city stands for. And it's also a good alternate form of transportation. Then we've got the Q-Mart, which provides entry-level jobs, amenities for seniors, and it's affordable. So in general, I think, as a city liaison, that our plan has done a really good job of implementing all the different things stated in both the RFP and the community interest letters, and it's provided collateral for anybody who wasn't fully satisfied, which our neighborhood liaison, Brooklyn, will now elaborate on.
Brooklyn, you're on mute. Can you take off mute?
Sorry, my bad. So we have a skate park that's requested by Skate On, which will allow our youth to have fun while being safe, and they'll also be off the streets to avoid disruption to other residents. We also have allowed for a new homeless shelter to be built as the request of the Grace Memorial Church and Jobs and Justice. Our plan also has affordable rental housing and many community services in York Dry Goods. Q-Mart provides numerous entry-level jobs and affordable basic retail goods, which pleases both Jobs and Justice and the old urbanist. We understand that the Elmwood Neighborhood Alliance has many demands, and they also have the most power. However, we cannot fully not change our neighborhood. So by their request, we rehabilitated the Phoenix Hotel and York Dry Goods for the historical charm. We also have affordable housing that is spread out throughout the area, so the property value will not decrease. Also, traffic is out of the residential areas and the Q Mart will not be ugly as there will be murals painted there. Pro-arts have requested for 10,000 square feet for only 12 artists. However, because this group doesn't have very much power, we decided not to include the studios, and instead we're going to ask them to paint murals on Q Mart. This provides them with work, and the Q Mart won't be just an empty industrial wall. We also are planning on having local gatherings on corners and in the parks for smaller artists. And finally, to make the neighborhood feel safe because of COVID, like Danya said, we're gonna have masks and a lot of resources and gloves and also sanitization stations so that the neighborhood can feel more safe because of COVID. And now I'm gonna pass it on to Mahira.
My name is Mahira, and I'm the financial analyst of Ecological. Ecological values the demands of the city and takes into consideration this COVID-19 situation. These are our final numbers. The 10-year net revenue for the city is $1.5 million, while our rate of return is 13.7%. We believe these rates will offset high risks involved in the project. We wanted to ensure that our affordability and green space was a main priority, and that is why, and that is portrayed through our affordability rate at 14%, which benefits people, especially in the time of uncertainty. Green space is at 12%, which meets the concerns of those who worry about social distancing. We have also created 810 office jobs and 560 retail jobs, which attracts many in the city. We are also pleased to announce that because we have a high enough return rate, we will run a pilot project in the city to install a geothermal system in York Dry Goods. Delridge Homes is a company that runs a program called Green Life, where they build buildings with a net zero promise using a geothermal system. We have partnered with them. The installation cost, which we will be covering, is between $300,000 to $500,000. Through our calculation, our return rate will drop it to be between 3.1 to 13.1 to 13.4%, which is a rate that we are more than glad to have, considering that we will be able to benefit Elmwood environmentally. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Great job. We really appreciate it. I will turn to my colleagues and maybe ask Councilmember Jackson if she wants to start with the first question.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Weir. Thank you for presenting today. I just want to understand why you chose to put in the Q Mart regardless of what some of the community was saying or wanted. What was your, why did you decide to put the Q Mart in? Let me ask that too, specifically to the neighborhood liaison.
Well, so we know that the Neighborhood Alliance obviously doesn't want the Q Mart, but we feel like it's a good addition to the neighborhood because it'll benefit a lot of other people. For example, the old urbanists and also jobs and justice. It provides a lot of jobs and like entry-level jobs, and it also has the resources and the what they're selling. It won't be as expensive. They also have a green roof at the top on their ceiling, which is which really coincides with our vision, and also it'll help with storm water management, which is a big thing on the city RFP. Also, it also donates 50 computers, which we find beneficial to people who may not have access to the internet because the internet's such a big thing today.
Thank you.
Councilmember Mao, do you have any questions?
Sure. I have a relatively quick question for the marketing director. The question is, what are the top items in your proposal do you think are considered ecological and may make you stand out compared to the other proposals that we will be receiving?
One factor that is ecological in our development is that we have included a community garden in one of our parks. So it will allow the residents to eat healthy and have access to organic food within the community. Another factor is that we have included bike lanes throughout our community, which we have the Yorktown Bike Share, and this will not only provide more safety for the residents, but it will also encourage more residents to be taking more green forms of transportation. We have also included a form of green sustainability, which I believe one of my peers can explain a lot more thoroughly. So if it's possible, I'd like to pass it on to the site planner to answer the question.
So talking about geothermal energy and the heating and cooling, I personally live in a geothermally heating and cooled apartment condo, and the maintenance fees are much lower. For example, compared to around $500, they're around $200 here, and you are paying. It's a lot more ecologically friendly. There are, for example, solar panels on the top of the roofs, which make this even more ecologically friendly. And there's the net zero promise, which is where there are no zero carbon emissions annually. And so I think that it's a very good investment in Elmwood that, and our pilot project, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you. I think we have maybe time for one more question. Councilmember Walsh, did you have a question? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you. I would like to ask the financial analyst. There seems to be something missing from the opportunity to take care of this artist group. Was that financially driven, or was there some other reason that you guys did not have it in it? And you may defer after you give me the financial answer.
May I get a clarification? We're talking about the artist?
Yeah, I don't see the artist studios as part of your use of the public buildings.
Yes. So financially, the art studios within York Dry Goods was causing our rate of return to drop and the city 10-year revenue. So we decided to involve them in other public projects such as painting murals and projects within the park, because we were not able to financially compensate for that within York Dry Goods. But we did try to compensate for them within the painting mural projects and the park projects that we would be running.
Your site planner, can you help me a little bit with that? Is there a better answer?
For example, we want to make Elmwood very aesthetically pleasing, and so they can help decorate around. So when you walk down 9th Avenue, you get off the subway station, you want it to be a welcoming place, and so we wanted to have a part of the Q-Mart mural as something you can write down, for example, especially with the COVID-19 situation, something you wish to do after COVID is finished. You can come back, see the wall, things like that. We had another idea of garbage pickup, and maybe the art studio people, they can make statues or things we can put around. Just going back to our vision statement, having the ecological factor to it. Just recycling things that they find around, from garbage pickup day, maybe that will happen once a week, possibly stuff like that.
If I don't mind, if I can jump in, we also we're thinking of using the artist group to, while COVID is going on, we were thinking they could make spaces in parks more beautiful, as you need to be separated from each other during this time. And we were thinking they could create some spray painted circles that are 6 feet apart within our parks, but not only make it basic and plain as you see it normally, but just create the whole space around our parks more aesthetically pleasing.
And just to elaborate once more on the artists, another initiative, like we mentioned, that Ecological wants to bring to Elmwood is one that helps with, again, the cleanup and the beautification of the community. So we would, like we were saying, we wanted to guide the community in a trash cleanup day. And so the trash that would get picked up would be turned into eco-friendly art sculptures. I don't know if you guys have seen, but here we actually in one of the zoos in Toronto, we have this it's like this little art piece, and it's a shark, and it's made up of recycled material. So we were thinking that this idea would help keep Elmwood environment clean and green, and then it offers our artists work too that compensates for us not having the artist studio.
So I have maybe a follow-on question, somewhat similar vein to Councilmember Walsh. In thinking about I think I heard a comment along the way that you had a sufficient level of return that you had made some choices to make other investments in sustainability, which is great and which I appreciate. But I'm also wondering if you've got extra return, can you not give the city more money? So would you be willing to accept a lower return to give the city more money?
Yes, so we would consider that, but we would also like to consider it through the lens of providing that money that we would be giving up through some sort of funding to the city for a certain program or something that is beneficial for them. But we would like to do it through that lens. For example, that we do know that affordability was one of the concerns in the RFP. So we decided that actually kind of led our thought in the geothermal system because we wanted to actually install that in York Dry Goods. So the city would have to pay less in the long term to actually maintain York Dry Goods. Yes.
Good answer. Okay, Margaret, do we do anything? I saw your note about time's up.
Okay, so time's up. So students, can you leave the breakout room? And if you have trouble doing that, I can try to move you out. You did a wonderful job, so thank you. And it's always hard to be the first one, so thank you. I'm sorry about the tech. I adjusted the time for that connection drop off, but you did a wonderful job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, team.
Welcome.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Adam Weirs. I am the chair of the Yorktown City Council. We are eager to hear from you. We've had an opportunity to look at your proposal briefly, but as you might imagine, we have a pretty full agenda tonight. So I think the way we're going to work this is we'll give you 10 minutes to run through your presentation, and then we'll spend 10 minutes talking with you and asking you some questions. We will ask when we get to the Q&A, if you wouldn't mind, please try to limit your responses to 90 seconds. We're going to do our best to keep everything on track. So with that, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Okay, I can start us off. My name is Levina. I'm the site planner. Can we get the presentation up? Okay, awesome. If you go down to the vision statement, slide 4. Our main goal as Team Rebuild is to create a variety of jobs for workers that are unskilled all the way up to people who are white collar and have white collar jobs. We also wanted to really maintain indoor and outdoor festivity in light of the COVID pandemic and take those safety precautions as well. So if we could go down to the site plan. I can take you guys along Madison Street first, walking towards the Q Mart from the east side. You can look over to your right towards our apartment complex, and we have an interweaving of sidewalks that link all of those apartments, and they're very easily navigable. So you can actually look straight through this whole apartment complex right into the town square, which we have on that upper left corner of Block 2. Turning onto 9th Avenue, we have our Q Mart and this section of retail up here, and those are food trucks, which complement directly our town square. Again, our town square is very open. It's ungated, wide sidewalks, lots of grassy area, a dog park, and lots of picnic benches and tables. Walking past and crossing Jefferson Street on the right, we have Victorian Row, and that has a staircase that opens onto Jefferson Street that leads up into our university classroom. Keep walking down that avenue and looking into Victorian Row, you see a lot of art galleries. Beautify, and so with that, I'll hand it over to TJ. TJ, you there?
Yes, I am here. All right. Can we go to the tenant list? Hello, my name is Todd, or TJ. So the majority of our housing will be affordable for low to mid-income families. Residents of the condos will find a pleasant view of Q Mart, Green Roof, and the Town Plaza. Visitors and residents will be entertained by art galleries, computer center, Town Plaza, and the skate park. With the amount of people going around Elmwood traveling, the law firm and hospital will find an adequate amount of staff and customers or clients. Residents of Elmwood will be surrounded by entry-level jobs for them to apply for. Food restaurants will be converted to food trucks to sustain their business and potentially attract non-residential customers. I'm done.
I'm Dylan. I am the financial analyst. Here's the financial summary. We hit the rate of return right on the mark, 12.5, and a city revenue of $2 million, which is a little high, but we plan to use this for infrastructure rebuilding, streets, sidewalks, and more. We have 1,332 jobs, a lot of which come from office and retail. We have a lot of amenities for use. Down here, we used a lot of our space in the York Dry Goods for community centers, different things, which we repurpose for different things. I think I'm done. Oh, also, we went a little bit over on our absorption rate for retail, but it's fine. We can be able to afford it because we need to support our local retail markets.
Dylan, will you go back to the Q-Mart slide? Okay, thank you. I'm Saxton Ray. I'm the neighborhood liaison. I'm here to talk about the Q-Mart. So the Q-Mart Job and Justice supports the Q-Mart. There's a few people that they didn't support the Q-Mart, saying it would cause a lot of traffic and just a lot of a lot of people outside, and it's like causing stuff in the neighborhood that we did not want, or that people did not want. So we had a plan to help fix that. And we wanted to start a bike sharing company, so that would help with the traffic and everything like that with the Q-Mart. And also And with the Q Mart too, on top of the Q Mart, we were gonna also have a green roof. So that's some of the people from the condos and everything we'll be looking over at that. I think I'm done.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Brunson. I'm City Liaison. Could we please go back to the site plan slide? It should be slide number 5. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we were able to, as you can see, include the town square, which is an central point of our plan. And we were also able to add a brand new homeless shelter right next to the church, as well as the Q Mart, which addressed a lot of the needs of the community wanting. And the city also really wanted to have the park, the town square. We also were able to keep the historical elements of Your Dry Goods and Victorian Row, which have now been repurposed and have added retail along with community amenities. So that way the citizens of Elmwood could get the needs that they wanted. We were able to add just over 1,300 jobs. So that way practically every resident in Elmwood would be able to have a job, whether that was an entry level or a higher level job, such as being a lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant in the office buildings. We also were able to accommodate all of the social classes by including some affordable housing. And we were able to implement a library in York Dry Goods, which is temporarily being used as a food pantry. So that way families of lower income could be able to go in and get food throughout the pandemic. And then we, in the parking lot of the the low-rise medical offices, we added for easy access for the families to be able to get tested. Thank you.
Is anybody, Allison, were you the last, or is there anybody else?
I was the last one, yes.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll ask my colleagues if they have any questions. Maybe I'll direct the first opportunity to Councilmember Mao if he has any questions. Lynn, sorry, Lynn, you're on mute.
I apologize. My question was, can someone elaborate on how majority of housing are affordable? And maybe provide some numbers?
We did not have a majority of the housing affordable, but we did have 5% for the podiums and 13% for the townhomes. And we sadly only could do that much in order to meet the rate of return and to have the tax revenue for the 10 years still to be met.
Got it. Okay.
Councilmember Weirs, I do have a question for the team.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see, site planner, can you help me understand a little bit more about what makes your district special? Can you walk me through what does the active corner of, actually, if you could bring up your site plan again, walk me through the active corner of Jefferson and 9th at 12 noon on a Wednesday. What does this look like here? What does the traffic and the street patterns look like?
Right, so this is definitely the most special part of our plan, I think, is definitely the town square. Like I said, it's a lot of green space, a lot of sidewalks, good walkability. Right across the street, we have that that collection of food trucks, and those directly complement each other. So I think you'd see a lot of back and forth between those two places because, like I said, our town square does have those picnic tables. We have that dog park there as well. You know, people who are active jogging. We have that bike share center in the York Dry Goods as well. People biking would probably stop at the food truck stop since it's outdoors. And the town square is not exactly for community scheduled meetings or gatherings. It's more just for anyone who wants to go there. So during breaks at work, you know, we have those that mid-rise office building on block 5, and we have all of this apartment complex that I think the main attraction for them is definitely the plaza. It's basically like a big park. Its only weakness is it doesn't have like a pond or its own lake or something.
So at 12 noon on a Wednesday, is your assumption that most people are still in the district? All the residents from these apartments and townhomes are still within this district? Is that the assumption?
Yes. We've tried to even draw people to live here and work here from the central business district to our mid-rise office buildings. And yeah, I think that with all our jobs here, we have a lot of entry-level jobs, other retail jobs, and service jobs that are all here in the district. And I think it would be busy here around noon.
Okay.
On a normal weekday, and probably even busier on weekends.
Okay, thank you.
So I could, Councilman Weeds, I would.
Yes, sir.
I've looked at your graphics and I think they're absolutely wonderful because they create pictures in my mind that I can use, but I'm looking at the Q Mart and my experience with Q Mart isn't what I think I'm seeing. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you anticipate the Q Mart actually being relative to the graphics you use?
In their letter that they wrote, they had stated how it was going to be one of their brand new, more economically better, so that way it would have more disagreement that they were going to include in it. I believe they call it their HE facility, so it would be more implied to be sustainable. That way we were thinking, we talk more sustainable about a store, it is typically similar to that Whole Foods that has like the organic element. And a lot of times Whole Foods or Fresh Market Street, they have these better stores, such that you can see in some of the photos. And so we were thinking based upon that this store would be of a higher cost than a typical Q Mart, considering the fact that they're taking the environment into their thought process. And so they were really trying to help the environment. With that, you typically have to use more sustainable materials.
Okay, thank you. I think I understand where you're coming
better
from.
than the typical concrete walls that you see within a Q Mart.
Thank you.
So I'd like to go back to to Councilmember Miles' question about affordable housing, and I'm wondering, you know, if it's such an important thing to us, if we wanted to see more affordable housing in this plan, did you all talk about changes that you might be willing to make if what we really need is more affordable housing? And that's open to anybody.
We've tried a lot of different things with our plan, especially considering the fact that the Q Mart was not, we were moved multiple times to look at other ways that we try to get more affordable. Can you hear me better now?
Not really. Maybe you should turn your picture off. Oh, you did. Okay.
Okay. There you go, Tom.
For at least me juggling with the money issue, I went more with the improving. Well, I would say improving, but like the community aspects of the like inside the York Dry Goods and the Victorian Row. If I wanted to switch those out with offices or retail, I could most likely increase our rate of return, which could increase the amount we could actually use for affordable housing. So it was more of a tug of war on that aspect. And I decided to go with the like using more community aspect there, but having to decrease the affordable housing. But I tried to add as much as I could there.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to any of my other colleagues if anybody has other questions.
Yeah, I would like to ask the financial analyst, given the returns that the market seems to need to have third-party investors, what is your plan with this? This is not as high a return as we would have expected for the profit side.
Right. Well, a lot of it goes to the construction costs. So we chose to put in the mid-rise. That costs a lot to build, and we put in a condo that costs a lot to build, but also has a lot of return. And it's just the construction cost is $83 million, which is a lot of our money. But we are paying some absorption rate, but it's not as much as that, and I think we can live with that because we need to support our local retailers. I just think a lot of it goes to construction costs. So if we can maybe switch out like one of those big office buildings, it can maybe lower the cost, but it'll also hurt our rate of return. So I believe that I made the right choice of going with the more jobs than the lower construction costs.
Okay, thank you. I think we're out of time, so I'll call that the last question. Really appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Adam Weers. I am the chair of the Yorktown City Council. I have a puppy, and you may hear my puppy, so apologies for that. But we appreciate you all. We had a chance to proposal beforehand briefly, but we're looking forward to hearing from you. And as I'm sure you're aware, we have a very full agenda tonight. So I think the way we're going to do this is we'll give you 10 minutes to talk through your proposal. We'll take another 10 minutes for my colleagues and I to ask some questions. And we will ask, when we get to the Q&A portion, if you could try to limit your answers to 90 seconds or less, it would be appreciated. And with that, the floor is yours. You can start right away.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kara Ushijima, and I'm a member of Taan Inc. Today, we're going to be pitching our redevelopment plan for the Elmwood community. I am the site planner.
Hi, my name is Mika Ishii, and I'm the marketing director.
My name is Kara Taan, and I'm the financial analyst.
Hi, I'm Mari Nishiguchi, and I'm the neighborhood liaison.
Hi, I'm Koichiro Take, and I'm the city liaison.
I'm going to begin by explaining our vision statement and an overview of our site. Our vision statement is, make it your home, take root and grow. Within this vision statement, the central component of our plan is a family-friendly, multi-generational community where families can create their home. The heart of our city is 9th Avenue. We chose to structure our city by integrating each section with the surrounding area. We envision residents to walk south down 9th Avenue. They will pass by the supermarket for their groceries and York Dry Goods, which contains many community facilities to benefit residents. Along 9th, residents encounter the large park town square. Finally, residents encounter retail on blocks 1 and 2 and reach the office buildings on Madison and 10th, which starts to transition into the central business district to the east. Our Central 9th Avenue walk was critical to supporting our site plan to help families establish a place to settle down roots. Overall, our site plan accounts for the walkable flow of families, traffic, and office workers to create a cohesive, safe neighborhood for our residents to make their home.
Next, I'm going to discuss the tenant list and how everything works together. In our Elmwood, areas with retail spaces are spread out in order to prevent congestion and foot traffic. As seen from the site plan, the major retail areas are spaced out on 3 different blocks. This could prevent people from congregating in one area of retail and ignoring social distancing advice. Also, stores are spread out within each retail complex so that stores that could have high traffic are not next to each other. This could prevent lines of people from becoming too close to each other or overlapping. The parks and open spaces could also be utilized as places where people could wait for their takeout food from a safe distance and relax on the lawn as they eat lunch. While we spaced out our crowded areas to prevent congestion, we still kept the retail stores and supermarket within walking distance of the homes because many of the families and retired residents living in the homes would need to be able to access essential items in a convenient location. In addition to all of this, we chose tenants within our buildings that not only benefit our Elmwood today, but will be also useful for the future. For example, our office tenants and retail tenants are all useful in our current crisis, and many of the retail stores could easily be converted in the future. Also, our housing reaches a variety of different groups of people. Again, following with our vision statement, make it your home, take root and grow, we have designed our Elmwood where every aspect complements the situation at hand and gives our citizens a true home where they can continue to enjoy their lives and prosper despite the pandemic.
Now I will be talking about the financial viability of our proposal. Our goal financially is to meet the 12.5 expected rate of return for investors and recoup the city's investment plus the adjusted additional $1.25 million in tax revenue. Our plan has a projected rate of return of 14%, and the city's 10-year net revenue is over $1.28 million. We decided to make 21% of our apartments and 22% of our townhouses affordable, resulting in 50 units of affordable housing and 18% affordable housing overall. Over the next 3 years, according to the annual demand forecast, all the spaces we've created will be absorbed to ensure that the developer and city get their investment back. Even with many cities' subsidized uses and the inclusion of more open spaces, we were still able to meet the financial goals. We could have reduced parks or community services, and we would have provided more city tax revenue or affordable housing units. However, we believe that these programs are essential to developing a safe and adaptable community. Financially, our vision of Elmwood minimizes risk while also meeting the requirements.
Next, I will be addressing the concerns and requests of the neighborhood residents. While we weren't able to please everyone, we tried to accommodate the residents to the best of our ability. We prioritized the requests of the more powerful neighborhood groups with more voting members. Elmwood will be home to many local businesses. We included a supermarket with a wide variety of nearby retail, making it convenient for residents to buy anything they need within walking distance. 850 office jobs, 370 entry-level jobs, and 15 community facility jobs will be created, benefiting the members of the community, especially in these high times of high unemployment. Elmwood will be home to low-income families and residents with the increased amount of affordable housing we included. To please residents, we strategically placed our buildings, parks, and parking lots to reduce traffic. To prevent heavy traffic by Grace Memorial Church, as requested by the old urbanist, we placed housing on Block 6 with the church. Our vision for Elmwood will please existing locals and attract new residents. It will be a place to call home and a place to take root. By carefully compromising the requests of the various neighborhood groups, we will gain the support of the majority of the community for our Elmwood development project.
I will be addressing the city's goals for the area's revitalization. Our project is above the minimum requirement for both the projected rate of return and tax revenue generated for the city. Our Yorktown will also create many entry-level employment opportunities. We have included a supermarket to provide the affordable goods and services residents wanted, and a diverse array of retail businesses will serve the needs of the community. We have included a variety of structures from affordable townhouses to luxury condos that cater to the needs of mixed income groups, which is especially important in a post-coronavirus world where affordable housing is essential. In accordance with the RFP, our plan will help the community age in place and in turn, increase the appeal of the neighborhood as a whole. We have preserved the historic York dry goods store and included a daycare center, bike share office, and police substation.
Finally, we would like to address our consideration of the COVID-19 pandemic and the new RFP. When designing our city, we kept in mind that we are designing for a post-COVID-19 world, but we are also designing a city for the future. We made sure to include a mix of affordable and market rate housing to meet the needs of residents, included multiple amenities such as daycare center and police substation, and lots of entry-level jobs in the various retail and office spaces.
The large town square will help facilitate community interaction for those seeking a gathering place. In the event of another pandemic or a surge or resurge in COVID-19 cases, these parks can be converted to makeshift field hospitals or testing centers. Post-COVID-19, we envision the parks, especially the large one on 9th Avenue, to be used for events such as job fairs to help the unemployed get back on their feet. The park also serves as a recreational area for seniors instead of the senior center, which is a potentially dangerous enclosed space for the virus to spread.
We made sure to include many community facilities in York Dry Goods to support a post-COVID-19 world, including a daycare center for young parents returning to work, a police station to provide safety, and a bike share center to promote exercise. Temporarily, we plan to include a financial relief office, including a food pantry, financial counseling, job support, and rent support in place of the bike share center. In the long term, this financial relief office will be phased out.
We also chose our tenants and the positions of each retail store with social distancing and flexibility in mind. We spaced out restaurants and other high-traffic retail to account for lines. We also placed our retail near the main park so customers can wait for their food and then have picnics under the trees in the park to reduce the amount of people dining in our restaurants.
Lastly, we realized that our developer profit is 1.5% higher than the minimum requirement, which may be a concern for some. While we would have liked to lower our profit by increasing the amount of affordable housing, the presence and importance of our city's subsidized parks and facilities made this difficult to accomplish without bringing down city tax revenue below the minimum requirement. We therefore would like to propose to the City Council a clause in our contract that will dedicate approximately $945,000 of developer profit to a coronavirus relief fund that the city can use. For example, we think that the money can go towards homeless assistance, support rent deferral or forgiveness programs, food drives, or career counseling. At the same time, we are still maintaining a part of developer profit as fallback, knowing that there is risk associated with building a city, especially given the financial projections for the future. In conclusion, we believe that our vision of a safe Elmwood will not only please our demographic and meet the goals of the RFP, but it will also be able to adapt and meet the needs of a post-COVID-19 world. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really great. We appreciate it. And I will now turn to my colleagues and see if they have any questions. Maybe I'll start with Councilmember Walsh first.
I do have a question, and one of my concerns is representing the entire city is that you didn't address our homeless need, and our homeless need is great in our city. We had a church step up and agree that they would operate the homeless shelter. Can one of you, I guess, I'd really like to talk to our neighborhood liaison about why do we not, I mean, how am I going to get elected if I've got people sleeping in the parks that you've created? You got great parks. I think those are going to be beds.
The main reason for not putting a homeless shelter in is that it contradicts our vision statement. It's difficult to create a safe, welcoming environment where you would want to settle down and create a home if there's a homeless shelter nearby. We recognize that there is a homeless problem in Elmwood, and while we did attempt to put a homeless shelter in, the surrounding areas would be undesirable and would probably not sell. And we also thought that the homeless shelter would attract more people, including homeless from surrounding areas who are expecting shelter at night. But even with a shelter, there will still be homeless people on the streets. The shelter may not be able to accommodate everyone.
Councilmember Walsh, if that was sufficient, maybe we'll move on and ask Councilmember Mao if he has any questions.
Thank you, Adam. I am looking at your park. I noticed that all the residential uses are very far from the park. And it is surrounded by one office building and parking garages. Could you describe to me what will happen in the park in the evenings, and will this be a safe place to be on 9th, your main street, but without ice on the park?
I can start by speaking to that. The main reason that we placed the park on that block between on 9th and Jefferson is that we wanted that intersection between 9th and Jefferson to be a very kind of the center of the city, and so we did place the parks over there. The reason we placed the skate park right next to the parking structure because we felt that the parking structure would cast kind of a shadow over the skate park, and those people may not mind as much to have kind of a building overlooking them. In terms of nighttime, I think our marketing director can also speak more to this, but we have the police substation directly across the intersection in the York Dry Goods that we feel will provide safety for the parks at night, as well as we are planning to put in, things like surveillance cameras, a lot of lighting around the area so that it creates a more safe environment.
Yeah, so when we created the area with a large park, our goal was to essentially make 9th Avenue very walkable and a place where you could go to the retail, get takeout food, and go and sit in the park under the shade and eat your lunch. So we felt that that was a very good option in terms of keeping people away from sitting in a restaurant with a limited amount of space rather than sitting in the park, being able to relax, and it makes it overall like healthier and more enjoyable. So we believed that it would help both the retail and the people that are going to those retail places.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Councilmember Jackson, did you have any questions for the team?
I do. Thank you for presenting today. Your plan is interesting. Now, I do represent some of the groups, some organizations within the city that are huge proponents of preserving historical buildings. And I see that you have removed several of the historical buildings. What is your thinking, and what am I going to tell my constituents about the removal of these buildings? What did it look like for if you guys kept the Victoria Row building as well as the Phoenix Hotel?
So I'm the city liaison. I can speak to that. So as the city's RFP states, one of the city's goals for this plan was to try to remove lighting influences in our block. So we felt that the Victorian Row and the Phoenix Hotel while they were historic buildings, they didn't necessarily fit our vision statement of a new, not necessarily extremely modern, but somewhat, just new kind of community where families could settle down and kind of expand their families for the future. Yeah, and we felt that replacing that with a supermarket would allow the residents to get all these, would allow the residents to get the necessary things they needed to support their lives.
Okay.
So I appreciate the idea. Well, I appreciate the acknowledgement that your rate of return is pretty high. And I really do appreciate the creative idea of a coronavirus relief fund. I think that's unique. But, one of the things I am wondering is it does seem like the job creation that you all are proposing is a little lower than what some of your competition is proposing. And I have to believe it's because, I heard there was an opportunity for a Q-Mart in this plan, and I don't see a Q-Mart. So I'm curious if you can help me understand why, because those jobs would be really impactful, especially in a post-COVID world.
Part of the reason,
Sorry, go ahead.
part of the reason why we didn't want the Q Mart in here is because we felt that it didn't fit our vision of having a community that can grow. So by having the large Q Mart, not only would it be a space where if they went bankrupt, you just have a large concrete structure, but also it's like a company that takes away from the other retail spaces and the local farmers within the community. So we wanted to be able to support the small businesses within our community without undercutting the revenue that they're making because of the fact that the Q Mart's able to import from international sources. And that's why we chose instead to have the supermarket, drugstore, and all the different types of retail.
I'd also like to add that another reason that we did choose the supermarket over the Q Mart is that it provides the same number of entry-level jobs per square foot. And we felt that, like Mika said, the supermarket supported our vision statement better without having that added risk of a very large building.
And the fact that we chose to have a supermarket instead of Q Mart allowed us to include a lot more retail spaces within our block. And that allows us to have a more variety in terms of services we can offer to the community.
Okay, thank you. I think we may have time for one more question, if any of my colleagues has another question.
Chairman, I would like to ask a question in regards for the marketing director, and what is your team's view on affordable housing, and how is that related to your view on homelessness?
So when we looked at homelessness within our plan, we used York Dry Goods as a place where we could have services for those who want advising and ways to get into affordable housing, because that's something that we've seen work here in Hawaii. So we're seeing it as a way where people can grow within the community and go from being possibly someone who does not have a job because of COVID-19 into transitioning into the affordable housing within our community and ultimately growing as a member of our community.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we are about out of time, but thank you all. You did a wonderful job. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the time and the effort. This is great.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Adam Weirs. I am the chairperson of the Yorktown City Council, and it's a pleasure to have you tonight. We have had a chance to look at your proposal briefly, but we are very eager to hear from you. As you might imagine, we have a pretty full agenda tonight, and so what I think we're going to do here is give you all 10 minutes to do the presentation, and then we'll take 10 minutes to have my colleagues and I ask you some questions. Because we are running a pretty full schedule tonight, we will ask in the Q&A that you try to limit your responses to 90 seconds or less. That would be great. And with that, the floor is yours.
The sun rises and a new light shines on the Elmwood District. My name is Kamala Karupia, and I'm the site planner for New Light Development. We envision an Elmwood that maintains historical integrity while integrating modern advancements and providing both a socially and economically diverse community. The neighborhood will tailor to the needs of current and future Elmwood residents and shine a new light, merging urban and suburban lifestyles. Now let me take you on a tour of Elmwood as we reinvent the burbs. At about now, 7:22 p.m. on a Saturday in Elmwood, we walk onto 9th Avenue and we have our Q-Mart and a variety of retail where residents are welcome to walk down the street and shop as they like. This busy downtown area is exactly what Elmwood needs to reinvent the burbs. Additionally, our retail is accessible for curbside pickup, and many residents will also be in the York Dry Goods using our many community facilities. Next, it's 7 a.m. on a Thursday. We first start on Madison Street at the Yard subway station, where commuters have a convenient walk to the business district and are greeted with beautiful murals on the back of our Q-Mart promoting peace and equality. Meanwhile, Elmwood residents are isolated in the neighborhood area where they can enjoy a peaceful morning. A couple of days later, 12 noon on Saturday, in addition to the 9th Avenue bustle, residents will file into our town square, which is located right in the heart of Elmwood. Here, restaurants are welcome to use this space to serve their customers, and on Sundays, a farmer's market following social distancing regulations will take place, creating that close-knit community feel in Elmwood. The parks are also designed to have enough space for peaceful demonstrations. And older residents are welcome to walk in the parks, while young people may use the court facilities attached to the town square and the skate park next to the YMCA. With leftover city revenue, we can station hand sanitizers and several signs to remind residents of CDC protocols. And we have the perfect amount of suburban and urban aspects of our new Elmwood, which shines a new light on Elmwood and reinvents the burbs.
Hi, my name is Thambi Moncaretti, and I'm the neighborhood liaison for New Light Development. Our plan appeals to a newer generation of people who will grow alongside the city while still accommodating for the existing residents of Elmwood. These choices and trade-offs we made in our plan reflect our commitment to best address the needs of the community while reinventing the burbs. We have the Q-Mart and Block 1. Despite the concern of the Neighborhood Alliance, the Q-Mart provides the most convenient alternative to driving 40 minutes to the nearest grocery store. Furthermore, it benefits all residents because it's easily accessible by the highway and subway, creates 400 entry-level jobs, and exceeds what you would find at a grocery store. This decision reflects the interests of the old urbanists and Jobs for Justice. Additionally, we have chosen to keep the homeless shelter inside the Phoenix Hotel, keeping it further away from our residential district and closer to the Q-Mart, which offers entry-level jobs. Our target residents are millennials who strongly advocate for social justice, allowing the homeless shelter to run more efficiently. We have placed this police substation in the York Dry Goods building in close proximity to the shelter. Although the Neighborhood Alliance is concerned with crime increasing due to a shelter, a similar scenario in Chicago proved that removing the shelter will bring homeless people onto the streets of Elmwood and pose a larger issue for the city. Despite the trade-offs that we made with the Q-Mart and the homeless shelter, our plan accounts for the concerns of Elmwood's Neighborhood Alliance, the politically powerful neighborhood group. We brought in modern business but continued to preserve all three historical buildings. Queen Street, Toronto, in the pictures you saw previously, is the perfect example of this balance between older and incoming residents. Who wouldn't love to go thrift shopping with their grandma? Furthermore, we allocated a digital center in our green space to hold events such as bingo nights, drive-in movies, and yoga mornings to appeal to the Neighborhood Alliance. Instead of allocating space in the Victorian Road to 12 artist studios, we commissioned the artists to paint murals for the city. We are confident that these decisions will create an Elmwood that will shine a new light on the integration of urbanization in a suburban town.
My name is Hannah Lee, and I'm the City Liaison for New Light Development. For our vision of Elmwood, we plan on focusing not only on the current residents, but on future generations. New Light Development has made sure to incorporate as many objectives and concerns from the RFP as possible. We've maintained the night homeless shelter to aid in community rehabilitation, along with many entry-level job opportunities, so chances of crimes that concern the city will be decreased. We have also made sure to address the city's concern of public service workers being priced out of the market. While revitalizing the community, New Light Development has placed many new community-oriented offices that solve the social and cultural challenges the city has faced, such as a police substation, an education foundation, and a tutoring service. By positioning a Q-Mart and a variety of retail services in our city, we have also addressed the concerns of losing businesses and the inconvenience of over 30-minute commutes to the nearest grocery stores. Our team has also made sure to add a green roof to the Q-Mart, along with skylights to multiple buildings, to further enhance the city's environment. The proposal is also compliant with the general design guidelines. We have ensured the building height and architecture are appropriate, and we have also maximized usable open space for recreational use and easy social distancing. We have temporarily made the daycare center a helpline center, since there have been increased reports of domestic abuse since the pandemic has started, and the community arts center into a supply distribution center. Testing centers in the YMCA and parks have been provided as well. In addition, for the upcoming 2020 election, the Congressman's Office, City Council, and Civil Liberties Defenders will be providing mail-in ballots. As shown in our site plan, we have done our best to reinvent the burbs, incorporating both suburban and urban lifestyles that will indulge the satisfaction of both current and future residents.
Hi, my name is Ram Pedlu, and I'm the financial analyst at New Light Development.
At New Light Development, our financial model is tailored to ensure Elmwood is financially sustainable. Our plan to target millennials and younger people in general is rooted in the fact that they will make up the largest consumers in upcoming years. Right now, we're seeing a trend in millennial housing decisions. As the US Census Bureau reported that in 2018, over 27,000 millennials moved out of major cities like San Francisco and New York City into suburbs. They are faced with the dilemma of living in traditionally overcrowded cities or moving to less populated suburbs but having to commute to their workplaces daily. Reinventing the burbs in Elmwood would attract this large demographic and give them the best of both worlds. We used a variety of factors to incentivize millennials to move into Elmwood. Our amenities rate was 10%, which means that we had 5 sections of open spaces for our residents. A recent study by Abodo, an apartment search platform, found that one of the most important things millennials wanted out of their cities was green space. Moreover, we have a combined affordable housing rate of 17%, with 33% affordable housing for townhouses and podium apartments. This gives millennials more realistic living costs, especially during a pandemic that has burdened their pockets. New Light's plan to reinvent the burbs can also be displayed through our community facilities. We have a total of 27,500 square feet of facilities. We provided community space to services such as Yorktown Bike Share to reduce traffic and make the city more eco-friendly. We prioritize mayor marketing to our target demographic instead of our profit. Overall, our developer rate of return was 13.7% and our city revenue was 1.5 million. These numbers show that while our plan is future-centric, we can still provide exceptional short-term earnings. We expect to create 1,061 jobs during the revitalization, which will be a mix of low and high-skilled jobs to cater to social and economic diversity. In all, our financial plan just doesn't focus on the next 10 years. Our plan makes sure Elmwood will be financially sustainable for many years to come.
Hi, I'm Rachel Gervich, Marketing Director for New Light Development. Here at New Light, we plan on not only revitalizing the Elmwood district, but also entirely reinventing the burbs to accommodate a mixed suburban-urban lifestyle that's appealing to millennial audiences. This is displayed throughout our plan with the strategic placement of our retail, office, and residential buildings. In Block 1, we intentionally placed foot traffic driving businesses near our Q-Mart to maintain a consistent flow of traffic and place non-conflicting service businesses next to the large retail. As our site planner has already detailed, on 9th Avenue, we've created an easy-to-walk row of retail, which includes food services that are tailored to commuters leaving and entering the yard and are also economically viable during COVID-19. We initially had a 2.67-year absorption rate on retail. However, due to strenuous market conditions, we reduced that to a 2.29-year absorption rate, ensuring we aren't overbuilt on retail. Also in 9th Avenue, we've included community services and complementing offices in our York dry goods, as well as neighborhood-oriented retail, startup, and community businesses in our Victorian Row. These businesses are strategically close to the homeless shelter, as they include a thrift store and humanitarian offices to aid those in need. In our 5th and 2nd boxes, we've created a centralized business center with both medical and community services, making our district perfect for potential tenants. Overall, this plan is self-sustaining, as it invites young audiences who will grow with our city. Aside from the lucrative luxury condos, our town is also fully absorbed in the 3-year market target. Our Elmwood plan will shine a new light on how people envision the burbs, making it perfect for what you're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really great. I will now ask my colleagues if they have any questions, and maybe start with Councilmember Jackson.
Sure. Let's see. I think one of the first things I needed to kind of understand your thinking on was you did leave the homeless shelter in place versus taking the subsidy. And I kind of want to understand your thinking on that. But where, more importantly, I guess I want to also understand where will the population, what's the plan for the population during the day? homeless population when they are not in the shelter?
During this time, the Q-Mart has put out many low entry-level job positions for the homeless people, which is why we thought it would be all right to leave the homeless shelter there, at least the night homeless shelter. That way during the day, they'll have a job, and then during the night, they would go to the homeless shelter to sleep.
Our plan is definitely focused on rehabilitation, which is why we've created so many entry-level jobs. And as we mentioned during our presentation, there were actually studies conducted to see what the economic effect, what the social effect of removing the homeless shelter would be on a town in Chicago. But when the homeless shelter was removed, it actually increased the homeless problem. So by leaving the homeless shelter in, it reduces the negative impacts of having it there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Walsh, do you have any questions for the team?
Yeah, I was looking at your location of the Q-Mart, and it's across the street. The parking lot is across the street from your condominiums, which, you know, condominiums are an investment for many people. How do you reconcile having a parking lot across from, at least from that corner condominium, and how does that impact your value? And I would probably go to our marketing director and see what your thoughts are. Maybe if someone else wants to chime in.
Of course. So initially we had the orientation of the Q-Mart where the parking was facing the yard. However, looking at it from a liability standpoint to the town, the consequences of having people who are commuting via the yard parking in the Q-Mart parking and therefore disrupting the business center over there outweighs the detriments of having the parking facing towards the condos. I think regardless, the same amount of traffic will be oriented, but I'll hand it over to our site planner to further explain that.
Looking from the condos, you already have the view of the green roof on top of the Q-Mart as well as the town square, as it is a 3-story tall building. And like our marketing director said, having the Q-Mart's parking be close to the, be oriented adjacent to the Madison Street Yard subway station, it's it can be an easy slope, right, to having the people from that Madison Street park in the Q-Mart parking. And although we have a police substation in the York Dry Goods, we don't want to make this a surveillance unit and constantly have police monitoring the area to make sure that the parking is only used for Q-Mart shoppers.
Thank you.
Councilmember Mao, did you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. I have a question for the financial analyst. I see that you guys have 33% affordable housing. What were the strategies that you guys implemented to offset that in terms of returns and profits?
Yeah, so absolutely. One of our biggest focuses was affordable housing, especially during this pandemic when a lot of people lost their jobs and simply don't have the income to pay for not subsidized housing. But one way we offset that with our profit and revenue was luxury condos. We decided to build 2 because they are very profitable, and we were able to increase our affordable housing on townhouses and podium apartments if we were able to make that revenue back from the luxury condos.
Got it. Thank you.
So I have a question. You know, I actually went to elementary school with Judy Abelson, who you all may know. She's now the president of the Elmwood Neighborhood Alliance. And, you know, I would ask your neighborhood liaison, I heard you mention that it's hard to please the Elmwood Neighborhood Alliance. That is true. But they have concerns about affordable housing, they have concerns about a homeless shelter, and they have concerns about a Q-Mart. And I'm looking at a plan that has a lot of all of these things. They also have a lot of people. And, you know, we're going to be up for re-election soon. So what am I supposed to tell the Elmwood Neighborhood Alliance that's not going to get me kicked out of office?
One thing that I would like to highlight is that these letters were written during a time where the same situation was not occurring. So in order to accommodate for the current economic crisis, it's essential to implement this affordable housing into our plan, which we do so. And I think one of the things that we do that the Neighborhood Alliance did really prefer was preserve all 3 historical buildings, because one of their main themes was keeping the old character of Elmwood alive. And since we do that and we modernize it to accommodate for the needs of 2 different age groups, I believe that the Neighborhood Alliance will learn to love this plan. And also, although the Q-Mart seems to pose a problem for them, by implementing it, we do make their life more efficient. And in our park space, we implement events that they're more likely to enjoy, such as bingo nights, yoga in the morning, and drive-in movies. And we would also be willing to play older movies or take suggestions from them, just to because they're a part of the town also.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for a few more. I'll open it up to any of my colleagues if they have more questions.
One question I did have, since we have a little extra time, I noticed that that you guys have a little bit above the return minimum that we asked you guys to have for profit. Tell me what balances you made, or what services are we, the city, not getting in return for your additional profits?
Yes, we definitely do have a little bit above what you asked, but we felt that we did provide a lot of community service, amenities, affordable housing. Maybe if we did try to include more of that, our city revenue would decrease. And you may also be asking why our city revenue is a little bit above what you asked. In our plan, we detailed what we want the city to do with this extra revenue. We would like them to set up hand sanitizer stations, posters about COVID, just so, because we can't do that as developers, but we want public health to be their #1 priority. So having that extra expendable cash gives them the opportunity to do that and keep Elmwood safe for all of its residents.
Okay, thank you.
So if you guys could, I'm looking at your vision statement. Tell me the balance that you have. You want to provide for both socially and economically diverse factors in your community. Tell me the balance that you guys think your design and your plan creates.
Throughout our plan, we're truly able to accommodate for every group while focusing down on the millennial target. Specifically, throughout our plan, we've maintained the historical buildings, but we've also brought in new and more modern businesses that will bring in a younger crowd. And with our green space, we're able to appeal to older generations who want to spend time walking in the park. But as our financial analyst said, millennials love green space and they love environmentally conscious additives. So we're able to appeal to them as well. I think with our plan, we're able to bring in a new diverse generation, specifically the millennial generation. And those are people that are going to grow with the town. However, we're also able to accommodate for the older generations. So that's the way we truly revitalize the burbs, by bringing in urban facets like the new modern advancements and some of the larger scale buildings like the luxury condos and the mid-rise office building. However, we're also able to create an environment and an atmosphere that's historical and homey and easy to walk if you truly want to live life in this fantastic district.
Thank you.
So I think we are about out of time, but thank you all very much. You did a wonderful job. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Right. Thank you, students. So now if you would leave this room and return to your team breakout room, the City Council is going to deliberate, and then we'll call everybody back for feedback in a little bit.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.